Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, you are in the in that time zone where it is very easy. If you were in the
Yeah, it's
East Coast,
convenient compared to East.
yeah, East Coast would have been difficult, but since you are in the West Coast, it's easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start from where we left. Okay, now we go to 435th verse, right?
36.
36. Okay.
Brahmananda.
Yes.
ब्रह्मानन्दरसास्वादासक्तचित्ततया यतेः अन्तर्बहिरविज्ञानं जीवन्मुक्तस्य लक्षणम्. The absence of all ideas of interior or exterior in the case of sannyasin, owing to his mind being engrossed in tasting the bliss of Brahman, is a characteristic of one liberated in life.
Okay, so let's say from whatever we have learned so far is that the person doesn't have Ishta, Anishta and all of that. Then what happens to that individual? That individual is always in Brahmananda because there is nothing which is moving at all. So when there is no movement, asakta chitta taya yatehe. So because the chitta now instead of giving different colors is not colored, so the buddhi is also uncolored, so it is going to see things as it is, not as it is presented. So when that happens, antar bahir avijnanam, so he doesn't distinguish between inner and outer. So there is no distinction. There is nothing like this is in and this is out. So what I mean to say is that I take this body. Now it is made out of 4 elements. But when I see a rock, I will consider it as a rock. Not able to see that that rock and this solidity both are same. So there is no oneness. I see it separated. So as far as I see separation, that far I am from attaining the Brahmananda. So let's say I am able to do that. The rock and this body, they both are the same. The rock doesn't have life, but this body has life. That's the only difference. But that rock is also disintegrating and this body is also disintegrating. If I am able to see that there is no distinction of antar, inside, bahir, outside. So then what happens? He is a Jivan Mukta because there is no distinguishing. So there is no Dvaita. So the key word here is asakta chitta taya yatehe. So the chitta shouldn't go into disturbance into any object, which are nothing but sense object. So one whose senses are withdrawn is a sannyasi. Not a person who wears a robe and goes out is a sannyasi. A person whose senses are in his control and they don't go out is a sannyasi. So basically one who is in sannyasi is a Jivan Mukta. That means one with whom the senses don't get connected to the sense object is a Jivan Mukta. Anything you want to discuss on this?
It says that Jivan Mukta Lakshana is the person who is in that blissful
Correct.
life. He's tasting that blissful life.
Yes.
And when he's tasting And then after that, for him, there is external anything, entertainment is much lower. So he's not bothered about it.
No, there is no
here
entertainment.
he's
Go ahead.
but here he is enjoying the bliss. Correct?
Yes. He is enjoying the
Who
bliss.
is enjoying? But who is enjoying?
Who is enjoying?
Brahman basic nature is that there is nobody to enjoy here. He is dissolved in that, right? The tasting the bliss has got no meaning. Either I was reading through both English and Kannada version. It says ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾನಂದ ರಸವನ್ನು ಸವಿದರಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಚಿತ್ತವು ಆಸಕ್ತ ಆಗಿರುವುದರಿಂದ ಯತಿಗೆ ಒಳಗಿನ ಮತ್ತು ಹೊರಗಿನ ಅರಿವು ಇರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. In English says the absence of all ideas of interior or exterior in the case of sannyasin, owing to his mind being engrossed in tasting the bliss of Brahman. That means the mind is tasting the bliss.
Yes, that is correct.
But for Jivan Mukta, there is no mind, na?
No, the chitta is there.
He is already there.
No, the chitta is there.
Chitta is still there, huh? Okay.
Chitta, you cannot remove it. You are the chitta. You are now colored with so many things.
That means chitta will be there till your prarabdha is over.
Yes.
Body and chitta. Okay.
After that, what happens?
Yeah.
So I will also answer that. See, now we have to look at the chitta in two dimensions. First dimension is that the chitta lands, meaning the chitta is the light. The light falls on Jagat. So you will start to, or that chitta, when it says I, creates an impression of ahankara. And the same chitta having buddhi as its source. And all of these three fall on a screen called as manas. So when I say I am seeing it, I am tasting it, I am touching it, I am smelling it, what really is happening is it is experienced through the chitta only. Okay. So if you look at the Yoga Sutra Patanjali, he says Yogaha Chitta Vritti Nirodhaha. He doesn't say remove the chitta. Stop the shaking of chitta. If the chitta shakes, it creates different visions or different colors and different substances which in reality doesn't exist. So let us understand what it really means. Now, I go to a park. Or you forget the park. If you remember, but you had asked for us that one photograph what my sister had taken in the downtown Manhattan somewhere. She had gone to a park. Okay, so you liked it, correct?
Yes.
Now, what was the basis of liking? Can you think? What was your basis of liking it?
There are a few things in that. One is that my taste is matching because it is greenery and it is well structured and it is only nature. Nature is presented in a much better way.
Correct. So you use the word called as taste.
Yeah.
Do you really taste anything? Do you take trees and taste it, or do you taste in the mind?
It is the mind only. Only
the mind. So where it is getting tasted? In the chitta.
Yes.
Correct. Agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what is coming there on the chitta? The trees. Correct. Now you have an affinity. You means the chitta has an affinity towards that trees or that the way that photograph has come. So you feel associated. You means the chitta feels associated with it, with that object. So you have a sense object there. Now every time you see that picture, the chitta feels that it is experiencing itself. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's look at Brahman. What is Brahman? Pure light. There's no tree there. No, there is no green or yellowish or that lake or whatever was there in the photograph. It's only pure white light. Now, if the chitta has the pure white light, what it should experience?
The chitta is pure white.
Bliss.
Bliss. Yeah, correct.
It's bliss. So isn't it tasting bliss?
Interesting.
Okay, that's what is written there.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I have understood. Because prarabdha is not over, chitta is there and body is
No,
there.
not only
Chitta you're enjoying.
not only the prarabdha thing there. First and foremost, prarabdha is there, and hence this life is there. That is over. But now when we say something we are enjoying, something is tasted, the real meaning of that is that in the mind only we are tasting everything. In the relationships, whatever we have as wife, husband, friend, daughter, son, etc., are tasted in the chitta only. They are not tasted anywhere else. There is nowhere else to go except in the chitta. So if some
Everything is experienced in the chitta only, right? There's no other place.
There's no other place. So every time you see somebody, you are going to recognize that object through chitta only. The light falls on that. So when the light falls on that, it immediately identifies. So the buddhi says that this is so and so person, and then the ahankara says that I am this, I am the father, I am the son, I am this, I am that. All that will happen. All of these three fall on the screen, which is manas. That's all what is happening. So now what are we doing? Or what are we means, what is that has to be done when we want to enjoy the taste of Brahmananda is remove these colors. The varna is removed. The curtain is removed, basically. When you say curtain is removed, in the sense that that white light had many different colors. Now the color is removed means what happens? There are no relationships at all. And hence the senses doesn't connect with sense object. Yeah, but you want to discuss further?
No, I'm fine.
You're fine. Okay, Sri Hari, anything you have?
No, Vilas.
I thought you already entered into Brahmananda state.
Sri Hari is already in Brahmananda.
Yeah. Yesterday, with so much of overdose of Sri Hari, I think by now he is in Brahmananda only.
He is Sri Hari, right? So
Yeah.
he has to be.
That's what I said.
So now,
Bharata always.
yeah, so now he has to be in all the teams so that all teams will have Brahmananda experience.
And Sri Hari, your name is so sweet, because that reminds always. Sri Hari. Thank you.
You have an apt name. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody, his parents thought that we got Sri Hari in our company. Good. Okay, so we can go forward to the 437.
437. Dehendriyadho kartavye mamaham bhava varjitah audasinena yastishtet tajivanmukta lakshanah. He who lives unconcerned, devoid of all ideas of I and mine with regard to the body, organs and the like, as well as to his duties, is known as a man liberated in life.
Yes. So, Deha, Indriya, Adav, others, etc. So, which means senses plus plus whatever we call as I. Whatever we can identify, and kartavya. So some time ago we were talking about kartavya, duty. Actually there is no duty. So the duty is there means mama is there. So he says Deha Indriya Adav Kartavye Mama Aham Bhava Varjitaha. That means he is free of the idea of I and mine If the I and mine is not there, then the body, indriya, and adi, etc., including kartavya, is not there. What he does, he stays with indifference. Audasinayena yaha tishtet. So he remains with indifference to all of this. If somebody comments, you have a duty to do or a job to do, he smiles because he knows or she knows that there is nothing called as a duty. If somebody says that you have five senses, he smiles because he knows that five senses are there because of him, not that he is five senses. And if somebody says that you have a beautiful body, he knows that because of him the body exists, not that he has a body. If somebody says that you're short, he knows that he is neither short or tall. He just smiles. This is what a Jivan Mukta would be doing. Yeah, Srihari, you wanted to say something?
What is meant by here? The Audasinyena means, is it like...
Audasinya means attitude of indifference.
Oh, attitude of indifference.
What it means by indifference here is that you are talking to me, but I am not interested at all, but yet seems to be interested.
Okay.
I'll give you a very practical example. So there is a heated argument, let's say between you and me. You are taking it as a heated argument, but I am really enjoying the argument inside. I'm not feeling agitated at all in any given way. But just for conversation, I'm conversing. That is called as Audasinya.
Okay. Okay.
So for the other person who is totally in tamas, he doesn't know that this person is acting. He sees as though it is real. Like, film actor, he is called as Raj in that movie. He knows his name is not Raj. But isn't he acting in the movie exactly of what is required in the script?
Yes, yes.
That is called Audasinya.
Oh, super.
That's the best example I can give you. Yeah, but you wanted to say something.
No, I'm fine.
You're fine. Okay. So, if you are a detached person, a Jivan Mukta is a detached person. So, he gives an explanation of what do you mean by detachment. So, when somebody comments on the body, he is not bothered. When somebody comments on the Indriya, he is not bothered. When somebody is commenting on Buddhi, he is not bothered. If somebody is commenting on his Ahankara, Bhava, he is not bothered. Nothing he is bothered. Nothing is bothering him. And somebody reminds him about his duty, he is not bothered. So, like, in the case, let's take an example. If I am Jivan Mukta, there is no I in the first place in the Jivan Mukta. That I know, let's say. So, my wife comes. So, only for movie sake, there is my wife and she comes. And she says, look, you need to drop your son to the college because today is his exam. Now what I do is, I'll take the vehicle, drop him to the college and come back. That is called Audasinya. But as far as my wife goes, she feels very happy that my husband has dropped him to the college. As far as a Jivan Mukta is concerned, he has dropped no one because there was no one in the first place to be picked up or dropped. If he thinks it is his duty to drop his son to the college, karma gets associated. So if the Jivan Mukta is a Jivan Mukta, then he knows for sure he is just doing action. And others call it as duty. But when he is asked about duty, he just smiles. For everything, he starts smiling. That's all what he will be doing. He wouldn't argue with that other person that no, this is not duty, I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it, and that person anyway will not understand. So the better answer to that is just smile. Give a nice smile, and there ends the matter. So that the bliss is not missed. He will not waste his time or her time in explaining what is and what is not. Now the question comes, how does the other person know that he is a Jivan Mukta? That will be covered after 2-3 shlokas, but I will tell you right away. With this indifference, the person starts to notice that he is not perturbed. That means the other person comes to know that he is not perturbed, or he is not worried, he is not worked up, he is constantly in a smile. And that smile is very contagious. That shows the peace. So this other person, if he is slightly bent upon spiritual, will ask this Jivan Mukta, what is the secret of your smile? And then he gets into a Shishya stage. This is how the journey of a Jivan Mukta and a Shishya starts. Lata, you want to add something, or you want to discuss something on this? Srihari, even you can, since your microphone was on.
So he is muted now.
He is now muted. He is Srihari, no? Now he is muted.
No, actually, when you are in that Jivan Mukta, and when you are enjoying all the bliss, there is nothing the world can give you, right?
Exactly.
So not bother.
Not bothered. Not bothered, but that other person also will come to know, can make out that this person is a Jivan Mukta. He will also...
That I am not sure.
No, he can guess. From...
Okay, if those people are also on the spiritual path, and then they are also in some kind of state, then they can recognize. Otherwise, normal people will feel, okay, he's just calm and cool and all that. That's all they will recognize.
Exactly. Yes, that's correct. No, I just said, if little bit of spiritual is there, that guy will ask him, what is the secret of your smile? And then he becomes a Shishya of this person. Because smile is always very contagious.
Yeah. So that smile will naturally come if you are in the bliss.
Yes. And then the person always wants to be associated with that person. Let us say, we'll take an example. We will take myself and Srihari, let's say, and Srihari is Srihari, so I can't really go further than Srihari, but right now I can think in that way. Now I and Srihari are walking, and then for every problem what Srihari brings up, there is a solution and there is a smile. So looking at that smile, Srihari might say that, what's that secret? From where do you get this smile like this? Not a plastic smile, or not just smiling as a smiling. You will have a beautiful smile which looks like the half moon. And that's the reason Shiva also has that half moon. His mind is so calm, so peaceful, that it just resembles like a smiling moon. So in all religions, including Islam, they put this moon symbol to say that it is so nice to look at because it has that nice smile, basically. And that is a smile of consciousness. So if somebody, even if that person does not have any spirituality at all, but still comes in contact with this person, his mind gets stilled for that moment. And that is the beauty of a Jivan Mukta. Because that bright light will remove the kleshas of the other person. So he will also get fixed with this fellow. So he might ask, he might not ask, is separate issue. So but otherwise he will come to know in some way, meaning he get attached to that person. Okay, so let's go to the next verse, 438.
438. Vijnana atmano yasya brahma bhava shrutir balat bhavabandha vinirmukta sa jivan mukta lakshanaha. He who has realized his Brahmanhood aided by the scriptures and is free from the bondage of transmigration is known as a man liberated in life.
Yes. So now what is transmigration? Transmigration is a stage when the vasanas move into the samskaras and samskaras into karma, and karma creates karma bandhana, which then has something called as runa, debt, anubandha, joining back. So it becomes runa anubandha. So all the people whom we have met or we are going to meet, all the situations we have had and we are going to have is based upon runa anubandha. If there is no runa, you are not going to go to that place, no matter what that person thinks. So everything is runa. If that person can see this, and few shlokas back we had discussed on Vasana. What is a Vasana? So, but do you remember what is a Vasana?
Vasana, that is what, which is internally, something is there that the taste, it is called familiarity with the taste and desires to have that. For example, if I like doing drawing, in this birth also I will have vasana to that.
Right, but we had this discussion on Vasana itself, meaning few shlokas back. Do you remember which shloka is that?
I don't remember.
Okay. So, Lata, do you remember?
I also don't remember, but I know it is the latent tendencies, and that's based on that only you act. So vasanas, I know what it is, but what we discussed, I am not able to recollect now.
Okay. Srihari?
No, Vilas, even I don't recollect. When we start this Jivan Mukta Lakshana, I don't recollect discussing on vasanas.
Okay.
But I think they are the driving factors for karma. That's what
Yes, that is correct. So, in very simple, yeah, Lata, you wanted to say something.
No, I was about to cough. So.
Ah, okay.
Vilas is not even allowing to come.
Yeah, correct. It's not so. Me to cough also.
No, I want to go back and see. So how?
Yeah, if you give a pointer about what we have discussed, so many things about vasana, so I'm not able to declare which particular one you're asking about. So.
Okay. No, Vasana, as in Vasana, where we had one shloka which talked about that. Anyway, don't worry. If you don't have it, don't know it, it's okay. So, Vasana is nothing but the impression. Now, these impressions create a karma bandhana. Okay, and when you have karma bandhana, you keep on coming again and again and again. to finish that bandhana. But what it brings in is, it brings in runanubandha. So it will not allow you to exhaust the karma at all, because the vasana are the driving force behind it. So vasana creates a set of actions which are samskaras, and the samskaras will then create these karma, and these karma will create runanubandha. So Vijñātaha Atmanaha Yasya Brahma Bhavaha Shrutehe Balat Avabandha Virnirmuktaha Sajivan Mukta Lakshanaha. What it means is that this person has complete knowledge now, because he has eliminated the vasanas. So there is no samskara, and there is no karma, and hence there is no runanubandha. And now he has witnessed the self, pure of any vasanas. And vasanas are the one which gives color. So there is no coloring now. So Brahma Bhavaha Shrutehe Balat. Comparing with the Shrutis, he knows that he has achieved it. Or referring to the Shrutis, he has found that he has achieved that. There are no vasanas. So without that vasana, he is bhavabandha virnirmuktaha. He is completely liberated from the bondage of rebirth. And that is the lakshana of a Jivan Mukta. Yeah, Sri Hari, wanted to say something?
No, yes.
Okay. Anything to discuss on this shloka? Otherwise, we can go to the next one.
1 minute. I was thinking some question.
Sure.
This is Shruti Pramana. Shruti is nothing but Veda, right?
Shruti is all. Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, and when Shankaracharya uses Shruti, you have to always go to Prasthanatraya.
Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, and Brahma Sutra.
Brahma Sutra.
Again, for that, the basis Veda, right?
It need not be 100%. He has taken something from the Vedas, and
Okay, no problem. No problem. Let us take Bhagavad Gita or Brahma Sutra or Upanishad.
Correct.
That is the pramana.
That's
that
the
means
pramana. Yes.
we have to study that to understand this. Otherwise, how will I know what is pramana?
Either you have to study what is there in the Upanishad, or you have to study what he has given.
Yeah. What Shankaracharya has given detailed commentary on all those three.
Yes.
We have to go through that either through Guru Mukha, like what we are listening to you, or you have to understand yourself by reading that.
Correct.
Then that is nothing but the base for you to
Yes.
say that you have now attained that Brahma or not. So this conflicts with your initial discussion of no need to discuss any of this. Yeah, no need to study any of this.
Okay, now good question. Now, where is this conflict and where is the solution? So,
Yeah.
I will now take some examples. Now, what I do is I'll take a set of books and I start reading.
Yeah.
Now, if I am able to decipher information without the need of a guide or a help or commentary or whatever it is, or bhashya, then it is good. But when the bhashya comes, when commentary comes, then what happens is you have to have that person to explain to you what he really meant. So when we start reading, we get biased or we get opinionated on what we are reading. So what is always said is that you need to find an appropriate guru and take the teaching what is required for you, rather than knowing everything. Because when we start knowing everything, it just we just while away our time, and we don't have time. Meaning, you first have to look at mumukshatva, urgency for liberation. So we see that our life is very fragile. It can end anytime. We don't know when it is going to end. So wasting time is of no use. So then you get the urgency to find the Guru. And from the Guru Mukhena, you are trying to see which Upanishad or which part of the Upanishad is suitable for you in case you want to investigate. So what Shankara did is he marked 10 Upanishads out of 1183 Upanishads which are there in our scriptures. So he made it as Dashopanishad. So in Dashopanishad also, depending upon your mentality, you can refer to that. Let's just say some people can understand Mandukya Upanishad, some people understand Munduka Upanishad, some people understand Kathopanishad. Like that, he has given 10 Upanishad. So based upon the maturity of the person, he can self-read. So this is Swa Adhyaya. And what he did is that he added Bhagavad Gita to it, which can be read by anyone. So generally, when you start reading Bhagavad Gita, you will get that knowledge. So you don't have to go through Upanishad completely. So what misses out is the Brahma Sutra of Badarayana, and that is one thing which Shankaracharya himself has given commentary. So if we read all of these three, or at least Bhagavad Gita plus, and even in the Bhaja Govindam he says, Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dita, and there is Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. So all his focus, all the summary of all the Upanishads are there in Bhagavad Gita. So nobody needs to read entire Upanishad to do that. So now comes to the conflict versions. Is that when there is a conflict, meaning why you should read or why you should not read. Nowadays, there are so many of them that you don't know which is the right one, which is not the right one. So there are so many interpretations. Just to ensure that you don't go through multiple interpretations and multiple versions of the same thing, it is better to find someone or some book which gives you a good understanding of it. Let us say I take Ramakrishna Mutt's books and I compare that with, let us say, Chinmayananda. There would be distortions. Then if I go by ISKCON, then there will be some other distortions. Like that, if I were to have 10 different books, it makes my life very miserable because now I don't know which one is the correct one. And hence, reading many books is not a good thing to do. Maybe Lata would be a right person to comment.
Yeah, but anyway, I have never faced any conflicts anywhere, even though I have read so many books.
Right.
So somehow the conflicts has not arisen in my mind.
Okay. Good.
At all.
Good.
And in whichever book I read, including the Buddhist book, so it does not even one book I read. I don't remember whose book it was. So I didn't realize it was a Dvaita book. But it was almost till the end, it was Advaita. And then in the last step, it says, what that person, I don't remember the name of that person. He says that, yeah, all the Advaitins get lost in the rays of Krishna. So they think they have reached Brahman, but they don't go beyond and they get lost there. So you go beyond and then you see the being of Krishna. So, okay, that is the interpretation. So, but anyway, for me, I don't have that, I never had that conflict when I read so many books. But then after having that experience, I have no conflict whatsoever in whichever way, whatever you discuss.
Good. No, generally people get into conflict.
But
Go ahead.
my understanding, when the moment I read ISKCON and from Chinmaya Mission, there's a huge difference. Because ISKCON clearly says it is only Bhakti, Krishna, and you surrender. But Bhagavad Gita from Chinmaya Mission is Jnana Marga. That's a difference.
Yeah, that is fine. No, but still you don't feel that conflict. You consider Krishna as consciousness.
That is there. The base, yeah. If you go very deep, it will be same.
Yeah.
You feel that they are pictured in their own
But that is fine. I think in whichever mindset you have, in that way you picturize. So it doesn't matter, right? You give this kind of shape to that consciousness, Krishna's shape, or you give Devi's shape, or you give this shape, that shape, whatever. It all are same. And you can create that shape, whichever new shape also you want, you can create in your mind and believe in
we
that.
can create our own, yes. Ishtadevata.
Ishtadevata. So honestly, I have not felt any conflict. Even Vilas, when you were also talking, also I have not. Maybe I don't know. In my mind, I filter, or I am not sure. But I have not faced the conflicts. But anyway, I don't immediately analyze and then say, okay, this is not right. Maybe that's the reason I keep it and then think over. So I have not faced that conflict.
Good. See,
For me, spirituality point of view, I have no conflict. But when I see these matas, Advaita, Vishishta, Advaita, I am able to see the difference between three. And whichever is convenient to me, I know that I should use it. Currently, whatever this teaching happens, Vivekachudamani is close to me.
Yeah, and something I wanted to tell, it skipped my mind. Yeah, but at least you have to read. You have to read something. You need to have some background knowledge to proceed. Otherwise, you would not be able to.
yes, that is correct. So no book is better than Vivekachudamani, to be honest, because it contains everything. You don't have to read hundreds of books. You just have to understand Vivekachudamani completely, and that is the reason he uses.
The beauty of Vivekachudamani is there is no God created between Krishna. It is just you, your self-consciousness. It's understanding about you.
Correct.
That is what I liked a lot here.
Yes.
Yeah, even the Bhagavad Gita also you can read the same way, but you can just replace Krishna with consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Which is actually that, same. He is also, actually, if you read, I am reading the Chinmayananda's book, but when you read, you can really see it is that it's not Krishna, the person talking, it's a Brahman is talking, or the self is talking through Krishna.
Bhagavan Uvacha, correct. Bhagavan.
Correct. Bhagavan, yes. So I guess.
Vilas, Bhagavan is equivalent to Brahman, can we say that way?
Yes. Bhaga, see, there are two words. If you split the word Bhagavan, what is the meaning of that? Bha is bhava. Ga is gamana, which means movement. Van is stopping. So when we say Bhagavan, one who has understood how to stop movement. And Brahman is a state when there is no movement. Simple.
Yeah.
That's all what Brahman is. And another way to define Brahman is Brahm means expansion. Man is mind. One whose mind is completely expanded. Meaning one who can see oneness. That's all. That is Brahman.
There's no limits and divisions.
There's no division. Yes. There are no divisions at all. So when we say Brahman, it is about the mind in the sense chitta, not seeing it as disintegrated, but as an integrated entity. Now at present, there are 4 people here. So we have 4 set of chittas. But actually it is only a chitta. It is not 4 set of chittas. But we don't see it that way. And hence it is individual. Individual means a person, single. Whereas when we say, I want to change the mindset of people, what we are trying to say is, we want to make them see it as one, as a whole. So when we bring a project, we want people to see as a whole, not as a part. But what each one sees is a part. Because the chitta sees the part. So if you were to integrate all the chittas as one, meaning if you are able to see all chittas as one, then there is unity. So your mind is expanded, which is Brahman. That's all what Brahman is. Not a person or a deity or anything. Now in that everything exists. In the same way, when Krishna talks, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, what we are trying to say is Sri is auspicious. The meaning of Sri is auspicious. Then the second Bhagava. one who knows how to stop movement is Bhagavan. So when we say Bhagavan, it means he has stopped moving. So Krishna is one such person who knows how to stop movement. Movement of what? Chitta. So another person who did it is Patanjali, because he knows the secret of it. So he said, Yogaha Chitta Vritti Nirodha. And all Upanishad talks the same thing. There is no difference.
Yeah.
So the beauty of Sanskrit is that if you know the depth of the Nirukti Pada, if somebody can get into the Nirukti, that is etymology, then they really can appreciate what is there inside. But from outside, if you just talk Brahman, the mind will make it as a person. So now that bliss feeling is what? Bliss feeling is when you have oneness, no separation. And that is what is Achyuta. Chuti is not there. When you divide it, it is Chuti. When there is undivided, there is no Chuti. So I am Achyuta. Chuti means to cut. So scripture talks about uncutting, non-cutting, single, seeing it as a single, as a whole. And that is what Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate, that same is again back there, which is also said in the Shrutis. Yeah.
All these masters, they never say, I said, and this is my thing. They always quote Shrutis and some other Upanishads and so on. They never claim anything as their own.
Yes, because that brings in individuality. So you have already divided it. So it should be undivided.
I think that is the main reason this is considered as holy, because it is it has not come from a person. Person is always coming from his chitta, or is biased.
No, it's not
unbiased.
No, it is not like that. But let us say when you say you got enlightened, what is the meaning of this word enlightened? You got enlightened of non-duality.
Yes.
Splitting. You just now found there is nothing to be split. So you got enlightened of that you are indeed everyone and everything. So your chitta is no longer making that distinction between you and others. So the duality is gone. So there is no sukha.
But this particular thing, enlightenment, is common across all matas.
Yes. So now the question comes, how do and which book will help me? It is all about referring anything you want, which will give you oneness, not division.
Yes.
So if you are taken one book, let's say you take some book and it talks about division, just like what Lata was informing, that in the last end it said that Advaitins don't get this, they're merging with Krishna, something like that. So now it is divided. So throw that book. Why? Because it is not telling you oneness, it is telling you division. No matter how good is that book, it doesn't matter. So now the choice here is go directly to Upanishad, do the Pada Nirukti, etymology, don't refer to any commentaries or any bhashya, and do your own. That's the best thing, because then your mind will be unperturbed and it will be pure.
So what about people who don't know Sanskrit?
That becomes a problem now. That is where all these superimposed books will come into existence. See, now about this Brahman, you will never find anywhere a reference saying that Brahman means this.
Yeah, you will not find. So I have searched. I have searched enough before even I met you.
Yes, But it is so easy. If you really see it, it's always, see, there is a sandhi. So if you know the sandhi and you know the meter, what meter it is, whether it is anushtup or it is Gayatri or this and that. So if you come to know the meter, you can see where it can break, where this pada can be broken. So brah, root word br means is to increase from whatever you have. So let's say brh means that you can see much more than what is available. So br is the root word. So if you use br in anything, it means it has an ability to expand or able to see many. So if you are able to see many in one and one in many, that is all what is Brahm means. So Brahma state of mind means that the mind is able to stay in that sthiti forever. But it is a state of mind. So there is a loka, Brahma loka. Whereas Brahman means it is beyond that, which means that it's total oneness. There is nothing dividing in any way in whatsoever. So man is mind. Again, man means which mind? That screen. In that screen, what appears is only pure white light. Nothing else appears. And that is Brahman.
Yeah.
And that is the reason it says nirvikara. Vikara means no modification. Ananta, because it's endless. Then aprameya, there is no measurement. Prameya is to measure. Aprameya means non-measuring. You cannot measure it. And then you can use some of these adjectives to say what it is.
Yeah, but still doesn't explain what exactly it is. You can still listen to all these statements and not understand Brahman.
Exactly, because that root word itself is not explained anywhere.
Yeah, no. Even in Brahman, fine. Even if you don't know Sanskrit, you don't know how to break it, or even if you break it and come into this kind of understanding, okay, this is that and this, but still you will not be able to understand what is Brahman.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Even though you are a Sanskrit scholar, it might not. And that is the reason what Panini grammar at that time was so popular, that Shankaracharya stopped at the Ganges and then he started Dukran Karne, that guy was saying, and then he started with that 12 verses. So Moha, Mudgara. Mudgara means to shake off. Moha is delusion. So 12 verses, Dwadashas Manjari Stotra is what he did, and it became popular as Bhaja Govindam. And the first line itself says that Samprapte Sannihite Kale. Then he literally says that what is the use of this Dukran Karne? That means you might...
What's the use of grammar? Yes.
What is the use of the grammar when you don't know what really it is, what life is? Now,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, so again, if you take Govinda, it is Go plus Vinda. Go is cow. Now, why cow? Cow is one animal which takes something but gives many things. So you become that who takes anything but gives only one thing. And one thing is always purity. So when we utter the word Govinda, it means 100% pure. There is no distortion given in whichever way. So the input can be anything, but the output is pure.
Yeah.
So Brahman is a state where everything is impure, but yet remains pure, unattached.
Yeah, correct.
In
Pure, impure doesn't matter. Right, wrong, nothing matters.
nothing matters. So there is no sukha, dukkha. There are no dualities. There are no
Right.
judgments.
Nothing. Yeah, correct. Exactly.
So if you
So, but then it's very difficult to, and even though you explain, I think that's the reason there are a lot of discourses, lot of scriptures, different kinds and different paths, because how much ever you explain, it's not understood.
Yes,
it cannot be understood.
It cannot be understood because on the chitta, this has to shine. And nobody can help.
Correct.
And nobody can help.
Yeah, that's what I was desperately searching all these years for the soul. The meaning of it and to know what that is.
Yes, at least now you know is what I feel.
Yeah. Now okay. I was also having whether the thing is I know or not, but now I am very much convinced that I know.
Yes. Okay, so we are just 3 minutes, so we'll not take a shloka. We can continue on our discussion until it becomes 9:30.
Yeah. So, to really understand this meaning, one is that maybe simplified text is Bhagavad Gita. And through Guru Mukhena, the Shruti, we can understand. From there, we can judge where are we. I think the definition what I got from that Paramarthananda Guruji is that the reaction to this world at which he used to give earlier and now, there will be huge difference. From there, you will understand your spiritual growth. That means earlier, if you are dealing with some situations, tough situations, you used to emotionally react. And now, that degree will come down. That is nothing but your spiritual growth.
Correct.
So for that, what he says that if you practice spirituality for some time and if you leave it, it will go back to your original. So you have to do it nididhyasana, continuously under a able, competent guru for a length of time is nothing but a spiritual practice was the definition. I think it makes a lot of sense, understanding. I think somewhere I also read this what you call mananam. Mananam itself is nothing but nididhyasana, because to understand itself takes time. So what you explained today, it makes a lot of sense. If you know, say you have used the word Brahman, I was just trying to practice switching off my microphone. At Brahma means your this lips, it has to open, and you have to push air from your lungs fully, and your heart region expands. So the meaning is already built in that word, Sanskrit word, braha means, both your inside stomach, chest, everything expands. Somewhere I read that is how this Sanskrit language is designed, and it's open for all to study. And you have used the word that etymology and this meter and all that, which I was not aware to that extent. I think that it is studying that may not be a very big one. It was the only thing is you are not exposed. If you study that, my understanding probably it will make our life easy to even understand the slokas ourselves by breaking. Because the breaking is something in Sanskrit is very, very important word. How to break, you don't know, based on that meter, chandas. So if you are able to do that, I think our major problem is solved. Most of these gurus, when they teach, they are able to break and nicely speak immediately. That is one thing is required for us to understand the scriptures, because this sloka says understanding the scripture is the base for you to see how much progress you have made. If that is not possible, then you need to have a competent guru and listen, and then see that how that progress happens.
No, it is not like that, but he says Shrutehe balat. Balat means strength. On the strength of the Shruti, not that you should you have experienced Brahman, and to verify you are referring to the Shruti. That's what it means. It's not like that, what you are trying to say.
No, it says Yavanige Shruti Pramanada Baladinda Tanu Brahman Emba Bhavane Badirudo.
Correct.
Or in English says he who has realized his Brahmanhood aided by the scriptures.
Yes,
the
aided
scriptures
by.
are very important.
No. Aided by the scriptures. If somebody were to ask, see, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Let us say you were to ask me, Vilas, you have experienced Brahman. I say yes. Now, how do you experience Brahman? Then I explain. Then you would ask me, can you show in which scripture it is defined? Now I cannot
reference.
now I cannot say that I don't know, right? So he says Shrutehe balat. That is, with the strength of the scripture, you can verify. It has aided you in.
Yeah, the thing is, when you explain, it's easy to understand because you are breaking that Sanskrit into those words, whatever is explained. Isn't it? And then the meaning is also there.
Correct.
So with that, we are able to understand.
Correct.
Or we have to read in our local language or English language the commentary written by somebody.
Yes, you can read the book what you have in Kannada. That is good enough actually. Now what you need to do is you need to do the Shravana, and once you have done the Shravana, that is, you have read that meaning, you have to do the Manana on how it is implemented.
Yes.
Then you will start experiencing it. You will yourself get it. The chitta will start falling on the object of this, meaning this investigation. So you means the chitta will get clear of its impressions of the vasana. So it was always pure, but it got diluted. So now the delusion is gone, and you will be able to see which shloka or which scripture is helping you in that regard. So you can always, if nothing works out, you can always go back and say, I experienced it through Vivekachudamani. It's more easier than you searching for the book.
Yeah. Vivekachudamani, Bhagavad Gita are the two easy references.
Yes. So
you're able to understand.
Yeah. So what?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, go ahead.
Portable.
Yeah, Lata.
Sorry. I was just talking.
Okay. See, the thing is, but instead of searching for Shruti, you can, at least for all of us, we can search in Vivekachudamani only. That is the best point. Because we have all the meaning and context, and it's a very small one. If we were to go to the Shruti, like if you go to Kathopanishad, it's a very nice one between Nachiketa and Yama. But there are so deep meanings that at one go you will not be able to understand what Nachiketa is trying to infer.
Yeah.
It is the same thing. It is exactly what is there in Vivekachudamani. But the problem is I might not be able to go to that level of Pada Nirukti or etymology to understand, and then I go and talk to one guru and he gives me a different explanation. Now I go in search of something, so all these problems will start. Instead, I can be with this scripture for me.
Correct.
And
this gives sufficient understanding. I think if you digest this, is more than sufficient.
Yes, absolutely.
You don't have to read anything else.
Absolutely.
So direct knowledge about Atman.
Yes.
Sometimes I wonder I should go and learn Sanskrit or what.
You should, Lata. I think I was thinking if you put little effort, you will understand fully.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I should.
It really makes a huge difference. Actually, when Vilas talks, I also am very tempted to study all this. I don't know.
But it is very difficult. See, learning Sanskrit is easy, but then understanding that grammar and all that, I think that is pretty tough.
Not grammar, Lata. Somehow you should get this etymology, that is Nirukti. That is not easy. That is something which has to come on its own.
Okay. How to break the word.
How to break the word and how to know which chandas it is from. There is Anushtup Chandas, and it has its own way of measurement. And Gayatri Chandas is its own way of measurement. You cannot break in between.
Yeah, I understood. Because even the word is written together, still you have to break it at the right point and then read it.
Yes. See, like Shrutehe, Shruti. If somebody's name is Shruti, it is Shru iti Shruti. Shruno is to listen, to hear. Shruti means what you have heard. Okay, now you might ask a question, okay, then it's heard, not written. Yes, the early India there was anything called written. It is always through hearing. So all the shrutis, when we say shruti, it is heard from mouth to mouth. So when they say shrutehe, it doesn't mean that it is about Veda or Upanishad or whatever, because all were told only. All are verbal. So that's the reason it's called shrutehe. Shruti, shru is to listen, tehe or shruti, iti is what is said. So it is called as pramana, measured. So if somebody were to say, where did you get this from? I'm going to say that shrutehe. Okay, that means I heard it from this place. So one shruti, when we say shruti, also in music, so you get shruti. It's again heard. So whatever that can be heard in life is shruti. So like that you have to keep on splitting. Like, there's another Vijñātaha. It's from root word Vij, means knowledge. Okay, Vij is knowledge. But if you take only V, it will negate it. Anything you say and you add V to it, it is going to negate that. Just like you add a in front of anything and it is going to negate. So
yeah, correct. Para, apara, like that.
Apara, para and apara. Like another beautiful is that this one Vijnana. Okay, now you have Jnana. What is V in that? Now we will say Vijnana is called science. But Jnana is wisdom. Vijnana means without wisdom, without proper wisdom. Actually, if you take it like that,
Knowledge.
it's just knowledge. It is not transformed itself into wisdom. So you have only knowledge, you have only pramana, but you don't have the experiential knowledge of that.
Yeah, only when you have experience that knowledge will turn to wisdom.
That is called Jnana. So first comes Vijnana, second comes Jnana. So you should be able to go so depth into it. Then you will really enjoy it.
That's why for some months I'm thinking about whether to learn Sanskrit or not.
Yeah, from where I have got it, God only knows, except for my past lives. But the moment I see, it just comes.
Yeah,
That is what Vilas, I have been talking to Lata. From where you got it's a big surprise for me.
Yes, that much.
It is not just interest. You have that impression with you.
Yes.
And that has driven you to all that. Because once you understand this, what I heard, you can understand any religion, anybody's teaching in the entire globe.
Yes, absolutely.
Easily can understand it. That is the beauty of this, the Sanskrit words.
Yeah, maybe.
Itself is
Maybe all of us also have that impression. It's hidden.
Yes, it's hidden. So you have to keep on
if
checking.
possible, can you conduct some basic things?
I don't know.
that will ignite.
No, that I don't know.
I have studied Sanskrit for about 5 years, but from the grammar point of view and all that, but not Vedic point of view.
That's what I'm telling you. But is that I don't have teaching ability of Sanskrit. See, you know what happened? There is one friend of mine who was speaking about me. Then he said that this guy knows Pali in and out. So
Yes.
after a few days, this other person came asking me, how much do you charge to teach Pali? I said, excuse me, I didn't understand. He said, no, I want to join for a class. I said, boss, I don't know Pali to teach you ABCD of it, but I can tell you what the word is. That I don't know how to teach you. So both in Sanskrit and in Pali, I get it automatically. There is nothing that anybody is helping me or something is, I have learnt it. I can know the chandas, I can know the nirukti, and it works immediately. From where I get it, I have no idea.
Yeah, so I think that impressions has got come up and it is lighted up. So it is there.
So now if I were to teach you, but
Yeah. No, this shows really you have the lakshana of that rishis. Because they got it from somewhere.
Yes.
Same thing, you also got it.
Yes. So if somebody asks
And
me,
you're giving to your shishyas now. You need to have more shishyas.
no, but but the problem remains. If you want to split it, you will not know how to split it.
Yeah, but then I will also think Sanskrit. Okay, there is somebody to explain all the scriptures right now. So why should I go and learn now?
Exactly. All that what is required for you is
Yeah,
to
correct,
experience
correct.
Brahman. Now for that,
Yeah.
why?
See, at that time I was wondering, why am I now again? Because you know how desperate I was,
Yes.
right, Vilas?
Yes.
I was really desperate, and I can't even imagine what state I was in. I was searching here, searching there, doing this, doing that. With that, everything calmed down. I mean, I became complacent also. That's a different thing. But now I have restarted with something else. So, but that satisfied me completely.
So what you wanted is what you got. So why should you go and again search for water?
That's right.
That is also true.
That is correct.
That is also true. Idea is not to do Krishna again. Not
Yes.
to learn grammar. Idea is to understand the essence.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Cooking food inside our home and eating versus going to a place and ready-made food is there eat. I think it is that easy now.
that is right. No. My next thing is I want to become a Jivan Mukta. So,
Yes.
see, it is not that just because you got a glimpse, doesn't mean that everything is done, right?
Yes.
So now you will have to establish in it, and you have to soak in it, and you will have to work doubly hard to get to that state.
Yes.
So that's what that's what I want next. Because after that, because so many years I was searching for it, and then when I got it, I didn't know what exactly it was. It took me some time actually to integrate that. And then I was kind of wondering, and there are so many insights which came afterwards. It's once you get that glimpse, then many things will start happening simultaneously without you doing anything also. But then afterwards I was wondering what to do, and then now I know what I want to do. So that now I want to become a Jivan Mukta. That's what I'm trying to
It will happen like that.
Which will happen. See, thing is,
So, Vilas, I need to drop off. You continue.
Yeah,
While
sure.
calling me.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we also
Thank you.
will drop.
Bye. See you tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, see
Yeah,
you
see you.
tomorrow. See, the thing is, it is possible, and good news is that we have this Vivekachudamani. So, if we practice it, we all should be Jivan Mukta from the real experience sense. So,
right.
let us journey together and do it.
Yep.
Okay, then meet you tomorrow.
Okay. Yep.
All right. Good
See you.
day. Good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.